What's up, nerds? Silver Slurpee. Thanks for joining us for another episode. Um, Pretty exciting week. I think this whole year is going to be pretty crazy with just everything going on from Daredevil to Invincible. Obviously, comics have been on fire. Um, Tons of Marvel movies, video games seem like they're doing really well. Pocopia's got everyone in a craze right now. So I don't know. I think it's been a pretty exciting year to be a nerd. Um, I feel like we should just kind of kick it off and start off with the banger of a Supergirl trailer that released like 36 hours ago or so, roughly. And I don't know, just get your guys' thoughts on it.
Where do nerds go
We're
to chill?
actually,
Sorry.
we're actually getting to hear Momoa as Lobo now. We actually get to hear him speak.
I think he sounds awesome. He looks awesome. The bike looks pretty cool. I wish it was a little bit like crazier, maybe a little bit more far fetched. Like the skull on the front just looks like a super tiny little human skull. I kind of wish it was some like big like monster looking skull thing or something. I don't know, just kind of make his bike maybe a little crazier, but he looks awesome and sounds really cool. I'm kind of curious based off the trailer since we jumped right into Lobo. Um, he doesn't really seem to be fighting with Supergirl much, so I think they're definitely going more of like the kind of anti-hero route maybe with Lobo. Obviously, I'm sure he's still a bounty hunter, but it's not looking like he's really going to square off with Supergirl. It almost looks like he might be working with her, which might be interesting.
I'm willing to bet they'll slap each other around at the start. I'm willing to bet we're going to see one of those where they beat the crap out of each other for a bit, and then something happens to bring them together. That's what my
Is
mind.
is he in Woman of Tomorrow? I haven't read it.
No, so
Okay.
um, as I've expressed on the channel a couple times, I I like Woman of Tomorrow. Like it's okay. It's not my favorite read. It's a little wordy, and I feel like they could have cut a little bit of it out. I don't think it needed to be quite as long. But that's just kind of Tom King's style. He's just most of his comics are pretty wordy. Um, but I think I've always said that I think the comic will translate really well to a movie platform. Like it's very beautiful. Like it's a beautiful story. Um, it just wasn't the most exciting comic for me. And it didn't have Lobo in it, and I think the addition of Lobo just like cranks this story up to 10. And I think if Lobo was in the comic, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more. Probably would have made it a little more fun and stuff, but the story itself is great. But Lobo's an addition, so I'm excited to see that.
And they've been
Yeah,
teasing this with Lobo for so long too, especially with
mhm.
Jason Momoa playing him. So it's nice to finally be able to see it come to fruition.
Yeah.
And I mean,
The
story wise, it's like one of the most classic story ideas imaginable. Who would not do anything to save their dog?
yeah, and on top of it, I think what really caught a lot of people's attention with the comic and why a lot of people love it is it kind of deals with Supergirl and the fact that like she comes to Earth and literally she grew up to being a teenager where she was, and that planet and all of her family and everyone that she ever knew is gone. It's a little different for Clark because he was a baby. So he found out obviously as he was older, or when he got his powers, like, okay, I'm not from this world. He learned about Krypton and everything like that. But I think it was different for Supergirl. Obviously, she grew up there all the way up until she was like a teenager, and then now she's having to deal with that, as a young adult. So we're kind of seeing the outcome of that, and a little bit more rebellious, some drinking, and kind of partying across the galaxy.
Well, and that's how he introduced himself to her too. He said, "Hey, it's Clark," rather than "Hey, it's Kal-El," which seemed weird for me, but the way that you describe it, with him being on Earth for that amount of time, obviously makes a little bit of sense. It just seems silly. I figured that they would talk in their normal tongue, or at least call each other by their government names from Krypton. You know,
Yeah. No, I think it'll be interesting, and I'm sure if it's anything like the comic, I feel like Supergirl will probably be in a different place um towards the end of this, and it'll be interesting to see her and Superman's relationship probably change
the,
as the movies and stuff go on.
the other thing I just thought about now that you mentioned that mustache man is the
it's
difference in Superman's story actually in this setting with the difference in his parents. He may actually not. He may be actually deliberately trying to distance himself from his Kryptonian heritage, given what happened in the Superman movie. I
Yeah.
don't want to dive too much into it, just in case I spoil things for anyone who hasn't seen it. But he has
If you
some
haven't seen it
reason to
by now, that's
maybe
your own fault.
been 9 months.
reason to
Come
want to
on.
distance him.
We can spoil
Bradley
things
Cooper's
now.
playing General Zod. I'm calling it now. All right. You heard it here first. I have.
I
Uh, sorry. Go ahead.
I I think that's a good point, and I'm curious if maybe that'll actually bring more tension between them. Obviously, Supergirl's trying to kind of reconnect with her past to some degree, and Superman's probably trying to get away from it. And it's a past that he didn't really live; he just knows of. Um, and then at the same time, I wonder if Supergirl might also uh, be able to give Superman more information about it. Maybe she'll learn more about it in her movie, which I think that would be pretty cool. If it kind of plays into that Superman uh, information going on with his parents that we learned of in his movie.
I was really 50-50 after watching the trailer. It sounds like you guys enjoyed it, and I was excited for Supergirl going into this. But it just felt so Guardians of the Galaxy to me. It felt like Guardians of the Galaxy 4, which, those three movies did really well. Obviously, James Gunn is helming this film, and it just seems very similar, especially with her right at the beginning with her iPod Nano, listening to music, and we're like, all right, here we go, just another Star Lord, right? It just felt super, super similar, which I get that's his niche, but I just don't know. That's and the villain. I don't know. I didn't read it. I don't know how he was in the actual book, but he seems so silly and just so unimportant. He just seems like a member of the Ravagers, right? In Guardians, like just some random dude with some weird face paint or whatever it is that has evil intentions for whatever reason.
So it's kind of an interesting point because obviously there's a bunch of comments, especially anyone that disliked like Superman or is just like a Snyderverse fanboy, um, and is trying to find any reason to hate on like what DC's got going on in their new universe. Um, that's like the number one comment is like, it looks like Guardians, which I can kind of see to some degree, and I think they got kind of pigeonholed by the story they picked because the comic
Sure.
story is very much kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy story. They're traveling around on a spaceship, going through the galaxy, and it's kind of like a pirate kind of dude who's also like a no-name villain for the most part in the grand scheme of the DC universe that they're chasing down. Um, but I think the biggest differences is Stargirl or not Stargirl, Supergirl is not Star Lord, and personality wise, they should be totally different. From everything I've seen in the trailer, aside from like the eye listening to music kind of thing, I don't think she'll be Star Lord like. Like if they make her out to be an idiot, um, just like this bumbling ding dong going through the galaxy, I think everyone will be pissed about that, me included. I don't see them going that route. And then also like she's still got the powers of Superman and everything. The heat vision blast and some of the fight scenes look sick.
Oh,
Lobo
so
throwing
cool.
Lobo throwing the chain looked phenomenal. So I think some of the action will definitely separate it from Guardians. Um, I think yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be different enough, but I think you'll have a hard time getting the people that absolutely despise James Gunn, no matter what he's gonna do, to not say that it's a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So I think it'll be
And
interesting.
I'm still gonna see it. You know, I really enjoyed Superman. Pleasantly surprised. I haven't enjoyed a live action Superman ever. You know, it's really just the animated movies that he's well represented in.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was awesome. It was a lot brighter, a little more hopeful, less dark. Obviously,
Yeah.
Martha's weren't mentioned at all, so
Well,
it wasn't too bad. I really enjoyed it.
yeah. No, and the fight scenes were really cool. Some of that stuff was
Do
awesome.
you think that maybe with Lanterns coming out that they'll have any of the Green Lanterns come in to that storyline just as a cameo? I think that'd be a lot of fun and act as a bridge to the show
Like
in Supergirl.
in Supergirl, I don't know.
I could see it as
I,
a post-credit
I
scene.
was gonna say maybe a
Would
post-credit scene, but I don't know if they'll appear. I feel like they're already adding Lobo to it, and I feel like they're adding Lobo just to get a little bit more mainline DC characters in there because for the
yeah.
like the overarching villain of the Supergirl like Woman of Tomorrow comic is not like I don't even remember his name, and I read the comic, so that kind of shows
Well,
you
yeah, I
Villain
mean,
that
how
gets
important he
resolved
is.
in the course of this comic.
Yeah, I think the story that is told in this, and I think the more important character, not necessarily the villain, but it's just kind of Supergirl herself and the girl that she ends up traveling with. She pulls out like a sword for a brief moment in one of the scenes, and she's only seen a couple times in the trailer, but her relationship with Supergirl, I think, will be really cool. And then obviously she's trying to save her dog, and also teaching this other girl um, some cool life lessons. So I think it'll be cool. And then
another animal centered story from James Gunn, too. I know I'm just saying he's a one trick pony on all these different things. I enjoy all of these movies, but I'm like, oh, here we go, another dog, right? He's so into animals for whatever reason, and it
well,
makes money. The people love animals, and I totally get it. But like, cool, we have back to back super people movies that focus on crypto. You know,
yeah. This one
To
I
be
feel
fair, I don't
like
think Crypto's going to be
I was gonna
in the
say
movie
I
too
don't.
much.
I think Crypto's gonna be down for the count pretty much the entire movie. Um,
but it focuses on crypto at least.
yeah.
You know,
Sure, in the same way the Mario games focus on Princess Peach.
that's a good
um,
one. That's a good one.
yeah. I mean, who knows? I think all of these obviously. I think it looks it doesn't even necessarily look bad, but it's tough for James Gunn to like get out of the like it's a Guardians of the Galaxy movie with the story that they picked for Supergirl because frankly, no matter what director was going to do this, like it's probably going to have Guardians of the Galaxy esque like kind of themes to it.
Well, and maybe that's his goal too, right? Do one or two things that's familiar and then start branching out a little bit. So that way you have that initial success and then you can start, you know, piecing things together. Because the next actual movie, I think, is in September, October, and it's going to be Clayface, right?
Yeah,
So
which
that's going to be a complete opposite side of the spectrum of this film. So I'm
that's
excited for that.
Oh, yeah.
if
I'm sure the studio wants him to play it super safe, and so he has to really show the studio, hey, I know what I'm doing. I can make you guys money.
Yeah,
I'm sure that has a huge part to play in it too.
totally.
um yeah, I'm super excited for it. I am curious. Like you said, Clayface is coming out towards the end of the year, and we still don't have like any announcement for Batman. Um,
Just the director,
I
which I think is the Flash director. And if that's true, whatever whoever it was, I saw it and I was like, that's the worst thing they can possibly do for Batman the Brave and the Bold. And I'm pretty sure it's Andy Muschietti who did the Flash.
damn,
And we all saw that, or we all didn't because it
I
was so
didn't see
bad.
it.
Yeah, it's
Um, what?
now it's always hard to know with any movie how much. I mean, obviously, the director has a huge influence. I'm not ever going to argue that they don't, but it's not always clear. I think from a single movie, how much a director's influence comes down. Like, yes, there's definitely trends you can follow with like James Gunn. You can kind of follow a through line with James Gunn's movies. I'll be honest, I'm not familiar enough with that director to know, was The Flash just like a one-time screw up, or was there studio interference, or what happened there? So
Yeah.
while you
When,
guys chat, I'm gonna pull up his discography real quick. We're gonna see how screwed we are.
when
All
does
right.
when does
Pull it up,
the
Jamie.
when does the Matt Reeves Batman come out?
Who knows, right? I think it's 2027. The
Oh,
last
is it?
thing
I
that,
thought it was coming out this
yeah.
year. Can you look that up
Oh,
too?
definitely not.
Oh,
Definitely not.
shoot.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm. If I had to guess, it's probably October
What?
27.
So,
Okay, so real quick, Andres Muschietti also was responsible for the It movies
those were really
Okay,
cool.
those. Yeah, that. Yeah.
as well. Yeah, so I'll be honest, he has a. I'm not sure if this is. Let me see his full discography. He has a. Oh yeah. Okay. Almost all of his movies are all horror movies. The Flash was
Okay,
actually stepping wildly
Okay,
out of his comfort
then
zone.
for Batman,
that's a horror movie
that could be
to some
sick.
people.
For
Yeah,
Batman, that could be
his
sick.
movies are. There's a horror movie called Mama, which was absolutely an amazing horror movie if you've ever seen it. It's great. It's terrifying, but
Yeah.
great. And then he did It Chapter 2, and he's also responsible for Welcome to Derry.
Okay. Yeah, people really like that show.
So he's the Flash. The Flash, I might say, well, we might actually chalk that up to being A, wildly out of his normal wheelhouse, and B, that may have just been a one-off, not great movie.
But that's also the only superhero movie he's done, and now he's doing another
True.
superhero movie. So
In
That's
a
true.
pretty
they can't mess
terribly
up.
established DC universe too that he got thrown into.
True.
So,
Yep.
and it's like, here, do a Flashpoint movie after we just made like the worst Justice League movie possible.
Oh, also have fun with this actor
I was gonna say,
that you have cast for
good
Flash.
luck with the worst Flash actor we could have picked.
That was bad. Yeah, all the off-screen antics and kidnappings and whatever else he was doing.
I okay.
Yeah. The
Quest-
Batman Part 2 has been announced for 2027 at the
Okay.
moment, it looks like.
So
Called it.
like I think there's 0.00, like honestly it's probably -% chance that this would happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but just out of curiosity, if they were to turn Twilight Batman into this universe's Batman and like they powered him up a little bit, like the first movie, obviously it was like a year one Batman kind of thing. So if by this movie, all of a sudden, like who knows, maybe he's fighting Man Bat or whatever, and flying through the skies and doing some crazier stuff with some crazier gadgets. How would you feel about Pattinson Batman being the Batman?
I don't hate it, honestly. I don't think it's a terrible idea.
I
They
honestly,
he's not as small as Christian Bale, which is good. But he's also not huge the same way what's his face was. And
Ben Affleck.
yeah, Batfleck. I think Batfleck was in all reality way too big in terms of bulk for
Oh,
someone
well, the thing
who
is,
is not
his
like.
actual Batman was all suit because he himself wasn't actually that jacked.
Yeah, but they did the suit in such a way that made it look like it
Exactly.
was.
So like they could make Pattinson look a little bit bigger if they wanted to. And I'm sure if he got like a freaking 5-movie deal with DC or something, I'm sure he would probably do whatever he's told. But I honestly think it would be kind of sick, and I think it's coming out too late and stuff with in regards to the whatever the rest of the DC universe has going. His next movie, that is. But I always thought it would be kind of cool if like his next movie came out and then they announced like, yeah, he's actually just going to be this universe's Batman. Because like they still haven't picked a Batman. They're being super hush hush about it, and I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I really liked the I would love the contrast between his Gotham and the current Superman that we have and their Metropolis. I think that would be
Yeah.
so cool. Such a big change, and that would feel so much like the animated series. Like those two worlds felt totally different. Versus like
In a good way.
kind of Snyderverse, it felt like the same city.
Yeah, that's the definition of contrast right there.
Yeah.
Can you see him, corralling Damian Wayne and whatever else, like with what they're talking about with Brave and the Bold? Like, can you see Pattinson doing that type of stuff?
Yeah, I think honestly, I think he's a pretty solid actor, and I feel like if
He's a really good actor.
I agree, I think, like I said, if they were to like power this Batman up and kind of move past like, okay, he's not in year one anymore. He's got more gadgets. He's got more like cool tech and everything. And then at the same time, obviously, he's a better fighter and he's a better at like kind of everything. And just turn him into more of a beast of Batman. And I think he could totally do it. And I think it'd be pretty sick. And I really love like the Penguin and stuff from his world. His Joker, that deleted 5-minute scene, is phenomenal.
Yeah, same with the Riddler that they did. The route they went with the Riddler was really cool. I was really happy with that.
Are you not a fan of his Joker?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Oh,
wasn't.
interesting.
But he's a huge actor, and they only gave him 5 minutes, and we'll see what ends up happening. This was also like 5 years ago.
So they can also say screw it, throw him out, give him something different.
There's
a
million
things. I just have Joker fatigue too, in
That's fair.
in all Batman media. So I would prefer to go another route if we had the opportunity to do so.
I just think like his laugh at the end was really good, and then he was like, I'd be terrified of that Joker. If that Joker like walked into my bank or whatever, I would be shitting myself. Heath Ledger, love him, phenomenal. But if that Joker came into my bank, oh my god, I just put the shotgun under my own chin, I think.
Well, there's so many ways that we've seen Joker portrayed too. That is the thing that's super interesting about the character. Like
such a spectrum.
Well, so
it's such a like Heath Ledger Joker was great, but frankly, so is the Jack Nicholson Joker. He was a fantastic Joker as well, but a very different Joker. And then that's entirely, you can contrast that entirely with almost any of the animated Jokers we've ever seen.
I think I think one of the cool things about the Pattinson Joker, I'm blanking on the actor's name, but
Barry Keoghan.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think one of the cool things about him, he felt so much like Scott Snyder's Joker, just like super dark, super evil, and obviously crazy. Still had the laugh and everything, but I felt like, and his face was pretty mangled. I just felt like he could totally pull off the, like the Scott Snyder style Bat Joker, and like I could see him ripping his face off and stitching it back on, kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. If they did, Death of the Family or Long Halloween or some Arkham Asylum, he would fit perfectly in that. But I could, ripping his face off. That's a really good point. Did you guys watch The Penguin, the TV show?
I did.
No.
Phenomenal.
Very good. When they announced it, and they announced it like a month after the Batman came out, and I liked his character, but I just said, who asked for a Penguin TV show? Nobody asked for this. No one's going to watch it. It just isn't necessary. And I think it ended up winning Emmys and whatever else. Like, it was really well regarded, and I agree, it was a great show.
I think,
and it's not a superhero show either. Like, anyone can just jump in and start watching it, which is part of its popularity.
I think one of the things why that show works so well, and like for me, I feel like villain shows or movies struggle without the hero. But I think the Penguin one works so well because he's essentially just like a mob boss. So it's
Mhm.
just like him running the crime side of things and things like that. And I feel like that's why like Kingpin can carry an episode of Daredevil so well, because there's so much more going on. He's not just like a crazy guy who's like robbing a bank, getting in a fight with Batman kind of thing.
You have
He's
to actually
controlling
navigate the
so much
system.
more. Exactly. And there's so much more going on with it. Not to dole down Joker or whatever, but yeah, I think he just works really well. And I don't know. I think it's gonna suck to leave all that stuff behind, but I do really love that the first Batman movie. Hoping the second's gonna be great, and then the Penguins show was awesome. So it was at least just watching that stuff. I think together will always be fun long into the future. And speaking of DC, kind of getting to comics a little bit. Um, I wanted to bring up one of my favorite reads from last week, and that was Superman issue number 36. So this kind of comes off the coattails of DCKO, and Superman is essentially missing from the DC universe right now. Uh, I feel like there's good and bad to that. I'm not going to get into that too much right now. I feel like uh, I'm totally fine with Superman kind of taking a step back or maybe being put into a position of power, what more responsible for the entire universe. So he's not in every single like Justice League book on Earth. Kind of let some of the other heroes kind of take a role and things like that. But at the same time, like KO, essentially where it left off, just lined us up perfectly to go into we lost a person.
Uh-oh.
No, we're
Mustache
okay.
Man, we lost
Oh,
video. You good?
But it sets us up to essentially just go into like KO version number 2, which they even briefly talk about in some of like the Just League Unlimited stuff and whatever following this. But the
Mm-hmm.
cool thing about this is Superboy Prime has taken over in the place of Superman, and this is just tons of fun. If you don't know Superboy Prime, like he breaks the fourth wall. Um, he's a little bit more of a kind of funny, lighthearted Superman, and at the same time, he's not a very good Superman, but he tries to be. And like, it's funny, like he'll be fighting people, and he's like, "What would Superman do?" And he's like, I want to do this," and he's like, "All right, Superman would probably do this." And then at the same time, like he's never had a job or anything, so Lois is like, "Okay, you need to get a job." And he's like, "Okay, well, I don't know what to do." And so he's like mid fight, sees a comic shop advertising that they need help. So he goes in, and where Superboy Prime comes from, he's read comics of all the DC heroes. So he goes in, and the comic shop owner is like, "All right, well, I'm not just gonna hire some dude off the street." And like someone asks him a question, and Superboy Prime like answers it for him, and it's just hilarious and awesome. So I'm really
Well, one
stoked
of the
for it. Can't wait to see where it goes. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of nice. It'll be kind of cool having Superman away for a little bit. Unfortunately, like I said, where DCKO left off, I feel like they're just gonna bring him right back. Obviously, Darkseid's coming back, so I don't know. I'm sure we'll just have a DCKO number 2 essentially coming out in a year or so.
which Superman is this? Is this 36 or 37?
36. 36. Yep.
36. Okay, I stopped reading at 35, I think, then, which was the
The
Time
KO.
Trapper Doomsday KO
Yep.
tie-in. And if uh, I'm pretty certain, I don't know if you've seen this variant cover, and you said that he went into the comic shop, and now it's kind of coming in.
Yep.
It's all making sense. Did you see that variant cover where he was reading Absolute Superman
Yes.
#1? Okay,
Yep.
all right, cool. I thought that's what it was.
Hilarious.
They did another one, and I can't remember who they ended up doing it for, but there was another one this week that they did a variant cover that was very similar.
Oh, interesting. I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, gosh, if I end up finding it, I'll let you know. But the reason I got off the camera is because I wanted to show you my variant cover that I got of Superman #34, and I don't get Superman comics pretty often, but this is my like Super Saiyan
Damn.
cover. Yeah. freaking sick.
Do you know who the artist was?
Artist had fun with that one.
It is Mario Facio,
That is
which
crazy.
Mario Fox Facio, yeah. And then another guy, Prasad Rack. Rack is what it is. So yeah, never heard of these guys, but once I saw that, I was like, oh, I gotta get it. It's so sick.
That is awesome. The other cool thing about Superman is so Dan Mora did the art of this. Obviously, Dan Mora is awesome, and then Joshua Williamson has been writing Superman for a while, but that's just like awesome tag team right there. Speaking of Joshua
and
Williamson,
he's still on it, right? Joshua Williamson's still on it.
Yes, he's still writing Superman. Speaking of Joshua Williamson, I did get my Iron Man #1 signed by him at WonderCon last week, which was super cool. But yeah, I think this is really looking like it's going to be a lot of fun.
And what did Joshua Williamson say to you about writing Iron Man? What were you telling me the other day?
So because I asked him, I was like, is it kind of weird switching over to Marvel and, doing a character like Iron Man, especially coming off, obviously he's still writing Superman, and, Clark Kent and, Iron Man are two very different characters, and Tony Stark, that is. So I was like, I feel like that's got to be kind of interesting. And it was so funny, like walking up to his table, it's just nothing but DC books. And I'm like,
hey, here's the one jerk with a Marvel book.
I'm like, this.
And they're happy to have him. I mean, he's a superstar, and I mean, he's the architect for DC. Him and Scott Snyder, so they are lucky to have him.
And I'm like, oh man, I'm like that's got to be like wild, like getting pulled into Marvel for a big character like Iron Man. And he was like, yeah, he's like, it's crazy. He's like, I know the DC universe like the back of my hand. I know all of the lore, and just I know all of the continuity details and things like that. And he's like, so it's so easy. And he kind of talked about how, he's in much more of a senior role with DC and helps with a lot of the continuity issues and things like that. Versus Marvel, he's like, yeah, I went into my editors and was like, I need some help because, I don't know some of this stuff. And he goes, I just started writing, and they were like, I think you know it pretty well. So he was like, it was definitely different, but yeah, he's like, I'm having fun with it. I'm not caught up with Iron Man at all, but it sounds like he's bringing some fun characters to it. I guess Cap is going to be coming to the story.
He was in the second issue. I guess he's been in all three. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was teased at the end of 1 and then was in issue 2, and I haven't read issue 3.
Yeah, and he's bringing several other characters, so that's pretty exciting. And yeah, he's like, I just want to write as many of the Marvel characters that I can. So that was pretty cool, and it was also pretty funny because that was the only book I brought. Because in all honesty, I didn't really actually think I was going to be able to get his signature, but it was super easy. And walked right up to his table with my single Iron Man book, and he's like, "Oh." With all of his DC books, he's like, wow, you must be a big Iron Man fan. I'm like, yeah, I am. I was like, Superman's actually like my favorite, but I didn't bring any of that, even though you've written like, over 50 issues of Superman.
What was he charging for a sig?
I want to say his was like $15 or something.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
I feel so silly. I had 20. I get so nervous. I don't know about you guys when you see these people that we've talked about forever and we read their stuff and we see their art and whatever else. Like, I had so many opportunities to get Scott Snyder's signature at Comic-Con last year in San Diego. And like, there's so many times I was just like walking past the booth and I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this time. And then I just don't because I'm so scared, And now I guarantee we go to con this year and there's going to be a 500 person line with how big Absolute Batman's got. And I just feel like I missed my opportunity.
Yeah.
So get in there early before they're big. Even though he was huge still last year.
For sure. And then in regards to comics, obviously Daredevil #1 came out with Stephanie Phillips writing it. I got one of the blind bags. I figured we'd open it now before we get into kind of talking about some of Daredevil Born Again. Which
Is there one that you want more
two,
than another?
I don't even know. I haven't looked at all of them, so this will probably be somewhat of a surprise. I'm assuming that's the front. Yep.
Yes, that's the front.
All
All right,
right.
here we go. Here we go. Sketch art.
This is going to be some crappy cover. I'm going to be so mad.
Going to be signed by Charlie Cox. Daniel Warren Johnson. What a
right
guy.
on.
Nice.
Sick.
There you go.
Here we go. We got the Daniel Warren Johnson Daredevil cover. And I think there's two versions of
Very
this.
nice.
There's the one without the Daredevil on the top.
The Virgin. Yeah.
Yep. Super cool.
Nice.
Sick. And I have not read this yet, but I'm very excited.
I showed my Ryan Stegman little foil here.
That is a sick cover.
Yeah, it was really cool. And Marvel always marks up their foils, which really pisses me off compared to DC. So it was $10 compared to
I
$7
saw
or
it
whatever.
and I almost got it, and I probably should have, because since being it's my birthday next week, my awesome wife bought my new comics for New Comic Book Day today.
Nice.
So I think I did it out of kindness, not to go too crazy. But I did see that cover, and I was like, ooh. It's like, wife's paying. But I didn't do it.
I haven't gone to my LCS since October, probably, because they're the worst. But I wanted to get a blind bag so that I could show you guys on we could do it on the stream. And then they had zero blind bags.
Since your LCS sucks so bad, Hondo, where do you get your comic books from?
I am so glad you asked, Silver Slurpee. I get my comic books exclusively outside of this one from Warlock Comics. That's warlockcomics.com. And everything drops at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays, Pacific time. Big fan, friend of the show, big fan of Warlock. He's a good guy. And we like to support small businesses and support small comic shops.
Heck yeah.
Not sponsored, just a really cool guy.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Speaking of Daredevil, I know you have watched the next two episodes. You've only seen episode 1.
Correct. Yeah. I'm a little behind.
What are your thoughts so far now that we're 3 episodes in?
Vanessa's going to get killed by Poindexter all day, every day. And then Kingpin's going to be pissed. Obviously.
As he does.
And then I don't know any of these names. There's so many characters and it's hard to keep them all together. I just know Matt and Kieran and
you can describe them.
Yeah. But Matt Murdock's ex-girlfriend, she's going to become Muse all day long. I guarantee it. She's getting haunted by him and having those flashbacks and whatever else. And she has his mask just laying around in her drawer.
I can't figure her
psycho.
out. Yeah, she is a psycho. Thank you. She's nuts. She's scared of this guy, also supporting Wilson Fisk, and then at the same time, obviously kind of against, I feel like against Matt and Daredevil at this point. And yeah, she's both terrified of this guy, but also keeping his mask around. I feel like she's going to be a problem later on in the show.
Even the first episode, she just comes across as a dirtbag, frankly.
Yeah, and she was great in the first season. I mean, obviously with her being Matt's love interest and then her killing Muse and, doing whatever. But then she was Wilson Fisk's psychiatrist at the same time too, right? And Vanessa's, right? Or they're doing a marriage counseling kind of thing. It doesn't matter. But I think she's going to end up becoming Muse. I think there's a comic storyline that a lot of people have been talking about where it takes place in hell and there's some kind of possession and she ends up becoming Muse somehow, some way. I haven't read it or have even looked into it, but I can totally see that ending up being a thing.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the black Daredevil suit with the double D's?
Looks good.
I think it's pretty sick, and I feel like for the show to create their own Daredevil costume that is unique to the show, but at the same time not like terribly off brand. It's not like they put him in like some purple costume and got rid of the D's entirely. Like I feel like it's still very much on Daredevil brand. I think it looks sick and I love it.
Well, for it to be the first time that they've
Good.
done the, sorry, go ahead, Skinner.
It's a really good representation of he is fighting much more brutally than he was before. That scene on the like we said, I've only seen the first episode, but the scene of him fighting on the boat, there's a lot more savagery, there's a lot more anger in him, I think, in that fight than we've seen before. And I think that black costume makes like a good representation of that.
I'm glad you said that, and I felt the same way, and I'm sure you do too, Silver Slurpee. What I really enjoy, particularly when I was watching these last 2 episodes, I noticed that he's just like out of breath at the end of the fight, and he's just like, you know, kind of like a Punisher, you know, type grunt. But like and that's what it is, right? Like you're getting in fights and you're beating ass, you're gonna be out of breath, and it's authentic, and it just makes it, you know, a cooler scene for him to do stuff like that. And I'm sure now that you have heard that, you'll notice it going into future episodes.
Yeah, I really dig the fact how the black is also like slowly chipping off. It's very very like minuscule at this point, but there are parts of the black that are chipping off and more red is like slowly getting exposed. And from my understanding is that as we go further in the show, more and more of the black will start to like dissipate. And he'll be in more of the red. Which could be kind of sick. I don't know. I'm digging it. I think it's really neat.
I think there's some symbolism going on there. Just a thought. That might be some symbolism there.
Yeah.
More blood. And I
Beat him over the head with the symbolism stick.
I was listening to him speak about how kind of early on in the Daredevil show they tried to avoid like doing like a superhero voice, and they tried to have him talk a little bit more normal. And he was saying, he's like, it was kind of neat because as it's adapted and obviously everything that he's gone through and stuff, and like kind of like you were mentioning, he's like, I'm doing these fight scenes and stuff, and then I go to talk to someone and he's like, I'm riled up, so I'm like talking like this, and I'm also breathing like aggressively, and he's like, yeah, it's kind of cool, it just kind of comes out naturally. And he's like, it's kind of different going from early on in the show we were like, yeah, let's try to avoid it, and then I was like, well, this is actually kind of just natural.
I prefer not having a superhero voice. I know we both, or all of us, grew up on Christian Bale doing Batman. But you know, Silver Slurpee, but I felt like he did the superhero voice to disguise himself when he was talking to his attorney friend, the black lady who runs the practice. When he was like hiding in the dark, and he was like kind of like doing a little bit more of a deeper pitch, kind of to disguise himself, which makes sense for someone that's so close to him. But someone so close to him that doesn't know that he's Daredevil.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I will say I do really like I forget her name in the show, but I do really her like his attorney partner. I really like her story and like what she's got going on in the show. It really frustrates me in superhero shows when like side characters, like ultra minor side characters that aren't like superheroes, all of a sudden are like fighting through crazy shit, and they're just doing they're doing too much, you know? It's like, stay in your lane of the story. Not that it's bad, but
fight him in court, right?
Yeah, and I think like her story has been very interesting. It's been cool to watch. Her freaking poor client and her are just like going through it because Wilson Fisk sucks. But I think her stuff has been very interesting. Really like it. Daredevil showing up, you know, standing on the other side of the room was freaking epic. She comes in, she's like, I'm a little drunk. It's just awesome. So really liking it.
Yeah. The Swordsman was a whole lot of fun this episode. Obviously, we saw him in Hawkeye as Kate Bishop's like stepdad. But we never really saw him in action. So this is the first time we saw him in action in like a full blown scene, and he's just using rebar to, stab people and
Hell yeah. And
fence
like
and do whatever he has.
Daredevil's tossing him in a screamer stick at one point. Like it was
It just
cool.
just like snaps it in half. Yeah,
Super sick.
super cool.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see where that goes. I think it's going to be pretty exciting for that. Obviously, we got a lot of Marvel stuff coming out. We got a lot of DC stuff coming out this year. I think those will both be very exciting. Skinny Nerd is a big
Speaking of extreme violence,
Warhammer fan. And
Warframe in this case, actually.
Well, yes, sorry. My bad.
Both.
I like Warhammer too. But
I thought the same thing when he said it. I was like, "Oh, Warhammer."
Henry Cavill does that.
Yeah, Warframe just dropped a trailer for one of their it's not a new character, but it's like the upgraded version of their character. And every once in a while, when they do these trailers, they remember that they're actually an M-rated game, and they go hard on it. And the Varuna Prime trailer went hard. I am super hyped for that character to drop, or for that upgrade to drop for her.
Yeah, I did see it, and watching some people get ripped in half was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Big
I don't
fan.
know if you got a chance to watch it, Hondo, but for you, Silver Slurpee, the thing that makes her the Warframe like that really scary is the fact that they can use all those guns. They are choosing to fight like that. That is a fully sentient person there, and they are choosing to fight that way.
Heck yeah!
So
love it.
It's a great game. It's free. They literally just released it on Android. This is a 13-year-old game that is still completely free, and continuously getting updates. And
what style of game is it?
It is a third-person shooter.
Oh,
it's a little grindy. You're gonna be working to get any of the fun stuff, but it's really fun. Like I said, it's completely free to try out. If you have a potato, you can run this game.
What would you compare it to?
It's kind of hard to compare.
Like
I said, it's over the shoulder. No, it's way faster. Here's the thing: I've literally never played another. The closest game I can compare it to in terms of speed is Titanfall. If you've ever seen the parkour in Titanfall, that's probably the closest comparison in terms of how fast you're moving. But you're doing it from an over-the-shoulder perspective, and so you're moving at light speed. You're basically an X-Man in an Iron Man suit.
Nice. Hardcore parkour.
Crazy fast. You are crazy powerful. You are tearing through enemies. It's a ton of fun. It's free. Like I said, you can play it on basically everything. And it's one of the things that gets me so hard about the game industry is there was gameplay footage in that trailer, by the way. Part of that, you probably saw the shift in perspective. That was gameplay footage. They can make a game that looks that good that still runs on the PS4, that can run on a Nintendo Switch, that can run on a phone. And once again, this is a free game.
A game that's free that's not going to be played on a $700-800 PS5 when those prices end up increasing in 2 weeks.
You absolutely can. It's on PS5 and it looks gorgeous. But
I'm not going to do it. I'm not paying
on. You can run it well on like a 7 or 8 year old computer, and it runs fine. It's one of the things that makes me so angry about some of these new games that come out. And you're like, yeah, if you don't have top of the line hardware, don't bother playing our game. And it's just like I feel like it's almost just a lack of effort.
Power to the players.
Yeah.
The price increases for all things computers, consoles, and everything has been brutal, and it's only going to get worse. But I'm very excited.
Has a console?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Has a
console ever increased if it wasn't like a pro? Like, has the standard version of a console ever increased in our lifetime?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't think so. I think this might be the first time. Although I will say, I think I'd have to double check the numbers, but I think this is one of the longer lived console generations we've had.
I mean, it came out in October 2025. The PS5. I don't know about the new
You mean
Xbox, but it was
October?
probably. Oh, sorry, 2020. It's been 5 years or 6 years, going on
Yeah.
6 years.
Wait,
But yeah, 2020. I bought it on launch day, just in case anyone was wondering. And it
same,
sounds like a jet engine when I'm trying to
same.
play it.
I was convinced by you to buy it.
We
and
bought it the same day.
Thankfully,
yeah, it
I
was a
did.
nightmare.
Well, thankfully I did because we were literally on the phone. You called me and you're like, "Did you pre-order it?" And I was like, "No." I was
Yep,
like,
yep.
"I'll just wait for it to come out." And you're like, "I
We were
think you
doing it
should
at the
order
same
it."
time.
You're like, "It sounds terrible." You're like, "Just go on Best Buy." And I was like, "Okay." So I went on the app, did it, and like with like 30 to 45 minutes later, all of a sudden everyone was like, "I can't get one." I was like,
Yep.
"Whew!" And then you couldn't get one
It,
for like the next 8 months to a year.
Well, it's because all the retailers, they were supposed to release it because it was after PlayStation State of Play, and they're like, "All right, we're going to release it in 2 weeks." But every single retailer, I think, except for Amazon, released the pre-orders right after that State of Play ended. And like you said on Best Buy, it took me 10 minutes to get to every single screen. It was 10 minutes to add to cart, 10 minutes to get to my payment, 10 minutes to get to my address, and then I was just refreshing and refreshing, and it probably was like a 80-minute thing, but I finally ended up getting it. And then I ended up getting it 7 months later, when
Yep.
it was finally delivered and
Yep.
actually in store.
It was really
but what an
cool.
ordeal.
It was really
So
cool
just
walking into Best Buy at like 6 a.m. when they opened early
Same.
just for the PS5
Yep.
launch.
Same.
Go ahead.
so just for reference, 7 years in terms of at least in terms of PlayStation, is the longest there's been between two consoles. So
That was
we're
the
actually
four.
coming up on essentially where we'd be at that mark. And as far as I know, there's been no talk of a PlayStation 6 yet.
I'm sure it's in the works. It probably just hasn't been
Hasn't been announced yet, but
spoken of yet. But
And was that the PlayStation 4 that went 7 years? Or the 3?
no, it's
Or
the
the
PlayStation. It was actually going from the PlayStation to the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 3, I think. Sorry, give me 1 second.
it's
No,
funny.
it's PS3 to PS4. I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
Okay.
No,
PS4.
it was PS3. PS3 was dropped
Gotcha.
in 2006, and then the PS4 dropped originally in 2013. So that's
Yeah,
the longest gap, PS3 to PS4.
as a kid, I felt like the PS3 and the PS4 were both around for forever. I feel like the PS5 hasn't been around that long, even though it has, which is pretty wild.
And the
Well, the thing
jump
with the
from
it took so long for them to get things going with the PS5 just because of the pandemic and everything like that. So that slowed it down a lot.
it
Absolutely.
was a nightmare. And the resale on everything too, the resale market on those, I just feel bad for everybody, Like
I am so excited. There's a game called Crimson Desert or whatever that released like a week ago, and
Mhm.
I am so stoked to play it. I bought it the other day and downloaded it. I have not even touched it because I'm still playing Ghost of Yotai and I'm trying to finish it, which also another phenomenal game. But I really want to
what's
play it.
Crimson? What's it like? What would you compare it to?
It's it's like an open world game, like fantasy based. You can like ride dragons, horses, all sorts of stuff. The map is massive, and I feel like the combat looks really cool.
It's Elden
But
Ring with easier combat and a happier storyline.
yeah,
Oh, that's good
that's
for you, Silver Slurpee. You need the easier combat.
wow. Okay.
So you're not watching Skinny Nerd play it for you.
Wow. Hey. Okay. Have you even finished God of War yet?
Yeah, on easy mode.
Both of them?
Yeah, I played both of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I beat number 3 too.
How's Ghost of Tsushima going?
Yeah, I haven't beat that one yet.
Okay.
And the Jedi games I've been playing on Padawan, Jedi Survivor, and Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, I played
but-
about 20 minutes of the first one, and I just didn't like the game, so I made Skinny Nerd play it, and then I watched him.
Good call.
Just so I could see the story, because I was like,
I played.
these games suck. I just don't like the gameplay for those. I just don't think they're fun.
Well, and
I
the
don't know.
map design, and especially in Fallen
Ugh!
Order, is just so confusing.
The map was terrible.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand Skinny Nerd be like, use the map. I'm like, I can't read that thing.
Yeah, and it's on different levels
Oh, it
too.
was
It's
terrible.
like I'm reading blueprints trying to figure out
It's
where
like,
freaking Zepho is.
oh, it was brutal.
Yeah, I agree.
What? Never mind.
Yeah,
I don't even want to ask.
Do it.
with
What are
with
those?
Jedi Survivor,
What are those like signs that caveman would like write on the walls? What are those called?
cave
Cave
paintings,
No, there's a name for it. Maybe not that.
hieroglyphs. Is that what you're thinking of?
What did you say? Hieroglyphics or whatever?
Is that what you said?
hieroglyphs.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. I was like, that's what it's like trying to read a freaking the Star Wars map. Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah, I want to like Fallen. I wanted to like Jedi Survivor was the second one, I think. But it's like it's so emblematic of so many of the issues I was just whinging about with the game industry. Some of the load screens in that are so stupid. The
Yeah.
game, even on a PS5, had some stuttering on even on like its performance mode. And I'm just like, I sit there and I compare it to other stuff, and I'm like, this is made by what's supposed to be like one of the biggest gaming companies out there. And this is supposed to be like their piece de resistance for Star Wars. What the heck?
It's the best thing Star Wars has done in a long time. Video game.
I get that. I do.
I'm so hoping that the open world Lord of the Rings game that I think is supposed to come out in like 2027 or so is going to be freaking epic. Supposedly, it's like 3 times the size of the Crimson Desert map, which is already insanely huge.
That can be a problem if you're not careful.
Yeah, well, supposedly the entirety of Middle Earth is going to be able to be explored, which sounds so exciting. And as a huge Lord of the Rings nerd, I can't wait for that.
Yeah. To be clear, I don't want to throw any shade at the developers because I know 99% of the time this isn't a developer issue. This is like a management and suits issue of them trying to push the game out too fast and doing awful crunch time. And, it's drives me nuts.
When Cal Kestis is in the live action, gosh, if he was in the Mandalorian, maybe I'd just lose my mind. When he's in the live action stuff, I'll be able to die happy because he's an actual actor too. Like, what are they doing? Stop sitting on your hands and put Cameron Monaghan in that stuff, and people will just lose their minds and watch every single thing that you end up putting them in. I just can't believe they haven't done it yet.
It's so great with the way the tech has developed with some of the motion capture stuff that they have the ability to really utilize really good actors. And B, they are getting some really solid actors for a lot of stuff. Like going back to God of War,
so good.
Christopher Judge, I think is the guy's name. Phenomenal actor, absolutely amazing actor. If you listen to his interviews, when he found out he was doing a video game that he was auditioning for a video game role, he was very upset at his agent, from what I understand, based on his interviews. He's like, why are you trying to put me into this? And when he saw the setup that they had, he was like, okay, I get it. And then when he was acting opposite of the kid who plays Atreus, Sonny something or other, he's like, okay, yeah, no, this is a good story. This is something I can get behind.
That was still one of the best moments at like the Game Awards when he's like, "Read it, boy." It's like, oh, and then they win. Oh, so sick.
Well, and then you have mainstream actors coming into video games, not just auditioning and then them getting a role, like with Norman Reedus in Death Stranding, right? Like, and that's fairly recent. And the Call of Duty games, I mean, it had so many actors that, I know it's Call of Duty, but those guys ended up coming in there and, doing that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey was in one of them. All right.
Lots of crazy stuff. All right. We're gonna finish up here. We got a couple questions that a couple people have asked over the last months or so. One was asked on our last episode. So we'll ask those, and then I got some questions for you guys, and I'm gonna kind of rapid fire some questions at you, and whatever answers you get, we'll of course post them all over the internet and see how much hate you can get. So starting off, we got asked by one of our viewers a few weeks ago, probably about a month ago now, who is the strongest iteration of Spider-Man across the entire like multiverse?
There's a Captain Britain variant of Spider-Man who's probably, if you're just trying to look at raw power, would probably be the strongest. Follow that up with is it Cosmic Spider-Man
Yeah.
or like Galactic Spider-Man or something like that? He'd probably be up there.
Yeah, I feel like Cosmic Spider-Man is insane. I never even entirely like I don't think I ever even read the story,
If I
but
can
from
be
everything I've heard,
super real,
he's like essentially a god level Spider-Man.
yeah. If I can be super real, I kind of hate power scaling talk stuff with comic book characters in all reality, just because at the end of the day,
Nobody
it
beats
just comes down.
Superman,
Any
so
fight between them is sure. Whoever wins a fight between two characters in comic books just comes down to who the writer wants to win. They can find a
exactly.
way to shanghai
Thank
a
you.
way for any character to win in all reality.
For sure.
Like, and to be clear, you can absolutely judge the story and go, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I do want characters to stay within like, hey, here's my established powers, my established powered levels. But trying to debate like which characters are stronger, especially if you start trying to talk about characters from different media and different storylines, it just becomes I don't know. I feel like if you try and dig too deep into it and don't keep it lighthearted and fun, it just becomes pointless.
Yeah, no,
Because
for sure.
you can't really get objective measures.
No, I think like Fear itself Spider-Man was pretty strong too. Um
Yes, in that suit, he was absolutely going to
uh
town on somebody who's supposed to be like at Thor level.
wasn't that like Uru armor or something?
Yeah, that was literally one of my favorite Iron Man moments in comics is when he shows up to Odin and basically makes a sacrifice of his sobriety to Odin to get his attention. And when Odin starts talking big about how even Tony's praying to God, Tony's response is, "Oh, I don't need you. I just need your workshop."
Yeah, no, that was awesome. Fear itself was actually pretty cool. Very cool storyline. Okay. This was directed at um the Mustache Man, now known as Hondo or whatever name he wants to change next week.
It's Hondo now. Skinny Nerd called me that last week, and it makes more sense.
All right,
It just rolls
Hondo.
off the tongue.
Hondo.
Hondo.
A viewer had asked if you had seen Echo.
No, I watched the first episode, and something came up, and I just never watched it again.
Right on.
Um, what an interesting question. That's yeah. No, I have not watched Echo, and me along with the entire United States of America have not watched Echo.
All right. So I imagine you didn't think the first episode was very memorable.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. It's a little niche for me, and
Yeah.
she'll never be seen again.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. Like it was just kind of there. She was in the Hawkeye show, right? I think.
Yes, and I didn't mind that when she
Yeah.
was like a sub character or a supporting character, right?
Yeah.
But when it's her whole show,
Yeah.
I don't know, it just seemed a little
'Cause
unnecessary for me.
I watched the show and I don't remember it super well. I thought it was okay. But I felt like obviously it was fairly forgettable. Now, I got some matchups for you. We're going to do what Skinny Nerd hates, and we're going to see who you're picking in these couple death matches, and then we'll get out of here and we'll see you all next week. But let's try to make these quick. Batman versus Deadpool. Who's winning?
Deadpool. Can't kill him. Just doesn't work.
That was going to be my answer just based on that same exact reason.
Fantastic.
You can't kill him.
Love it. Wonder Woman versus Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think I have to go. Yeah, I think I have to go with Captain Marvel.
Ooh,
Range.
both Captain Marvels. Okay. Green Arrow versus Punisher.
Oh, Punisher. I love them both.
Punisher. I'm sorry. Green Arrow's great. I love Green Arrow. I love him for a whole host of reasons. Punisher is just gonna snipe him from a mile out.
Yeah.
All right, Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
That's not even the question. Come on.
For sure. Well, I was like, even if you did Dr. Fate, Zatanna's or Scarlet Witch is still smoking him. I think you could put Zatanna and Dr. Fate up against Scarlet Witch, and she's gonna smoke them both because she's a freaking beast.
He literally rewrote a universe's reality at one point. You can't. There's. I'm gonna be real here. I know I was just whinging about talking about like objective measures of character power. It's hard to find a character who has pulled that off in any comic.
All right. Hondo has not read this, so his opinion is not going to be very good. But Rook from Rook Exodus versus Geiger.
Yeah. Right.
Geiger.
Yeah.
It's got to be Geiger. I'm sorry. I love the birds. I love Rook.
I feel like Geiger even with Pumbaa, I don't think he can do it.
Geiger pulls out the control rods and goes thermonuclear, and I'm sorry, but you don't. There are not enough pros in existence to tank a nuclear bomb. It just doesn't work.
All right, and lastly, Thor versus Hal Jordan.
Thor.
Oh, you guys are the best. What a way to finish.
You're welcome.
All right, well,
man, now I almost want to say Hal Jordan just to be contrarian. Of the matchups you proposed, I do think Wonder Woman versus Captain Marvel is probably the most debatable. Punisher versus Green Arrow is just so much up.
And the fans for Wonder Woman are crazy, and we're probably.
We're about to get ripped apart.
Probably gonna get murdered.
They're probably the same fans, though, right? Wouldn't you argue? Like, if you're a fan of Wonder Woman, you're probably a fan of Captain Marvel.
I don't know.
After seeing how Captain Marvel has been written in a lot of the comics,
I feel like she's I
don't know how many fans she has anymore.
Well, that's the thing.
She has a new #1 right now, just in case you're wondering.
That's the thing with Wonder Woman, though, too, is I feel like she's had so many bad stories over the last however many years. Like, Wonder Woman fans are clinging on to, like, one single story that has been written in the last 30 years, and everything else sucks.
And I think everyone hates her right now, too, because I think Tom King is writing her on the main Wonder Woman. And
don't even say his name. We're going to get canceled. Go ahead.
I think the biggest thing with Captain Marvel, though, is she's had so many just stuff that is just straight up character assassinations. Freaking Civil War 2, dude. That was bad. I'm sorry. That was from just a pure writing perspective. There was no cohesiveness between how she was portrayed from comic to comic, and it made her look really bad because she literally completely flip-flopped from comic to comic how she was portrayed. It was so awful.
Like,
and the main version, she was terrible.
All right, I have another really good question, and I can ask it next week, or we can ask it now. I'll leave it up to you.
Let's do it now. Let's wrap on something happier.
Who, going off what Hondo hates about James Gunn earlier, who is the coolest animal, like sidekick or whatever, in all of like geekdom? You got like Crypto, you got Appa from Avatar. I don't know who else is out there.
God, there's so many, dude. That is a animal companion. Who's the best animal companion?
I feel like I'm forgetting about a bunch.
Who else of course. I'm sure somebody's going to message or comment something. I'm going to facepalm myself so hard it blows out the back of my skull. But at the moment,
Hondo's like, I hate them all.
There's a really sarcastic part of me that wants to go Mushu from Mulan, just because I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah. That's actually pretty good.
God. You
know what? There's a lot of good ones in Disney.
Oh yeah, if you want to go down the Disney rabbit hole, it gets easy fast.
I like Raya's little
I mean, dog meat
armadillo.
from Fallout, great.
Who?
Dog meat from Fallout is great.
Facts.
Shows up in every single game.
Yep.
Perfect minesweeper.
Never seems to die.
Like I said, the perfect minesweeper. Oh man. I mean, Pokemon.
Nah, that's not an animal though. I
That
feel like that's
doesn't
just...
count, but
I'm trying to stay in the realm of animals.
okay, all right. You said sidekick, right?
Yeah,
I'll
like
do-
sidekick, assistant, partner, mount, whatever.
Yeah, it's not in the realm, but I'll do. You said Mushu. I'll do another Eddie Murphy, and I'll say Donkey from Shrek.
Ooh,
Yeah,
solid.
yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
no superpowers, but made love to a dragon. So, dude's got game.
I mean, that's pretty super, depending on who
Dude,
you are.
yeah, he
you know?
made
I mean,
super
imagine
dragon
the logistics
donkey
of that.
babies. He mounted a dragon.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
your mount can mount dragons. Does that mean if you can ride the donkey, then you get to ride the dragon? It's kind of like
Mountception.
if Thor's holding the hammer and you pick up Thor, you're technically like you can pick
You
up
are
the hammer.
worthy.
Skinny Nerd's gonna kill us with our dumb logic.
No, I'm with it. I'm with it. You can ride the dragon, but you
sense.
have to be riding the donkey while the donkey rides the dragon.
Which I don't know how the donkey's gonna stay on top of a flying dragon, but you know, hey, we can hope.
They made it work somehow. I don't know.
They can build some saddles, some straps to put them on.
Hey, maybe we need to cut the stream before we get canceled here.
Have a good one. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining the Silver Slurpee podcast, where nerds come to chill.
Where nerds come to chill. Take it easy.